All righty. How you doing, folks? Ron Raymond here from the Raymond Report, along with Ross Benjamin of Ross Benjamin Sports for Wednesday, Hump Day, August 5th. How you doing, Ross Benjamin?
I'm doing okay, Ron. Things are going well. 2-1 yesterday with my paid selections. 7 straight winning days in a row, Ron. 16-5 during that time. So, yeah, as far as the sports betting goes, everything's great, and life in general is pretty good. Thank you for asking. How about yourself?
Yeah, the sun came up. Another beautiful day. A little bit overcast here in Ottawa today, but you know what, Ross? It is Hump Day. We're getting over the hump, and pretty good day yesterday. And yesterday was a Seinfeld day, right? Even Steven. I felt like it was like a 50% day everywhere. I went except for baseball, 1-2 in baseball. Lance Lynn again can't get the Rangers bats going for him.
Support, yeah.
Had the Pacers yesterday also. Went 1-1 yesterday. I lost with forget the early game. It'll come back to me.
Go. Okay.
Sorry.
Your early game you're talking about, and how? Yeah, I know you said you lost the Leafs game.
Yeah, I had the over in that game, and for some reason I thought there'd be more hitting in that game, more goal scoring, and obviously the goaltender showed up, and the Columbus, they couldn't hit a broadside or a barn right now.
Yeah.
Clippers, sorry, I had the Clippers. They fool's gold, man. That's my new word right now. Fool's gold between the Lakers and Clippers. LA's fool's gold.
Yeah.
But no, you know what, Ross? Pretty good day again overall in hockey. 1-1. I had the Hurricanes. I knew they were going to close out that series. I didn't care who was going to start in nets. You could have put Mike Richter back in nets there for the Rangers.
No doubt.
And, But Ross, hey, you know what? Our hockey selections are doing very well, as you said.
12-1 combined between us. Ron is 8-1. I'm 4-0. Folks, even if you don't like hockey, it's like playing the stock market, which Ron compares a lot of sports betting to. You talk to a stock advisor. You don't sit there looking at the computer all day to see what happens. You take a glance and see how it ends up, and that's what you need to do with hockey. I mean, if you're not a big hockey fan like we are, and obviously we're pretty good at what we do in terms of NHL betting, just go to atsstats.com, buy the pick, and collect later.
Yeah, if you're not allergic to money, get on our picks.
Exactly.
Right on. All right, Ross. Man, MLB, I'm going to show the audience here something along with yourself. If you like favorites, if you're a chalk eater, take a big tall glass of milk because we're going to wash down a lot of chalk right here. Look at this. The last 3 days, 80% of the favorites in baseball have come in. Now, look.
Wow.
This, like I told you off air, this looks like a Christmas card right here. You see all this green and red.
Yeah.
The favorites are on a 9-day run, Ross. And if you go from the beginning of the year, 9, 10, 11, 11-2.
Yeah.
Man, this is like unheard of.
Look at since the 28th of July, Ron. Holy cow. 20-8, 25-12, 32-17, 39-21, 49-24, 56-26, 67-28.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's, the one thing I just noticed is making me look like a liar too, because it's going against my
law of averages.
My if you like the favorites, take the over. The unders are just absolutely killing it right now.
Yeah. Especially, I'll get to it, but especially the small favorites have been going under a lot.
Yeah, let's talk about that, Ross. You mentioned that at the top of the show, and the small favorite, and you noticed that last week.
Yeah. We talked about this on last week's show, Ron, where we made a point about why we never take a favorite over minus 151 or greater. And we displayed on the screen how bad they were doing up to this point. As a matter of fact, if you're playing $100 to win $100 per game on favorites of 151 or more, they, at that point last week when we talked about it, they were down over $1,460. They've since made a little bit of a comeback since then. And this makes our point again, Ron, about not taking big favorites. The big favorites have done well over the last week, but still for the season, they're 38-23. That's favorites of 151 or more, Ron. 38 and 23, 62%. And if you played to win $100 on all 61 of those favorites of 151 or greater, you're still down over $1,000. So now the Major League Baseball favorites of minus 106 to minus 150. The last time we talked, they were 30 and 13. I said, well, that's got to level off. Well, it hasn't. Since that time, they've gone an additional 18 and 10. And right now, their record stands, as of yesterday, 48 and 23. That's close to 70%. And if you played to win $100 on each of those 71 small favorites or reasonably sized favorites of 150 or less, Ron, you're up $1,896. Here's another caveat. Favorites of minus 106 to minus 150 this year, when there's a total of 8.5 or greater, they've gone 26 and 10 under the total. That's over 72%, Ron. Wow. So some pretty interesting stuff there. And the law of averages says these, the underdogs have to start hitting a little bit. Now, we got to wait to see that turn a little bit, right? Because right now we're betting on the if-come. If you're just solely basing your handicapping theory on, well, they're due.
Well, here, you mentioned all those numbers, and I'm looking at all those green, the favorites. I can just think of that song for bookmakers. There's a tear in my beer because right now these guys are getting taken out behind the woodshed and just getting killed.
They got to be getting hammered.
Because
the general public are chalk players.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? We talk about all the time about perception, reality, and the thing with the public players, and especially recreational gamblers who just do it, on weekends or whatever, the weekend warrior thing. Their mindset is like the favorites it's like comfort food, right? It's like they know that they feel good with that selection. And sometimes the hardest thing to do in sports betting is like taking a pick, like last night that I gave out to our members here at the premium section, Texas Rangers with Plan Flynn, I think it was 145. Those are the selections that, a lot of the public favorite.
Not willing to take that risk.
Yeah, exactly, right. And, Ross, from a business point of view, from money management point of view, a day like this where the favorites are on a 7-day or 9-day run, it's like catching a falling knife, thinking when they're going to it's like the stock market, right? When you see you're on a bull run, when you're going to start getting off or start diversifying your portfolio, and it's the same mindset here for sports betting. And what I tend to do is eventually what goes up must come down, and I'm still going to bet the favorites, but I'm probably going to have a bit more totals in my packages. Like if I'm going to do like I normally play 3 to 4 plays a day. And, if I do, say if I do a 4-team, picks, then it's probably, 30% sides or, one day it'll be a total. But now when I see this, I'm probably leaning towards, 75% totals and maybe a 25% one dog or something. Or I might split it up and go half and half with my money management. Because at the end of the day, we all want to make money, but we all know it's like putting your head around the corner and knowing that there's an accident waiting to happen. And that, to me, that's with the favorites.
Yeah, one of the things I've always learned with sports betting, Ron, and I'm sure it goes along the lines of what you're saying, is you don't bet on the if-come. It's like trying to catch an inside straight, Yeah. It's bound to turn, but wait till it starts to turn just a little bit before you start having a strong feeling in that regard.
Yeah. You know what? It's, people deal in cryptocurrency. Whenever you see a big bull run, one of the things you wonder, do I start shaving some off now or do I wait? And then you wait too long, and then next thing you know, you're catching like a bear run. But yeah, no, let's get right into MLB here, Ross. We're going to go right into the forecast now. This is a weird card today, Ross, because a couple of doubleheaders, a couple of, the Marlins are just, they're throwing everything off a bit with obviously, the issues they had with the COVID-19. And it looks like we might have a full slate of games here today, including the Yankees-Philly games kicking off here at 4:05. but I'm going to check the odds. See, there was no total on this game. Still, I don't see a total yet. So I'm not going to really get into the forecast here. Can you see this, Ross?
Yes, I can. Yes, I
I
can.
want to make sure I don't want to be 3/4 into the program. It's like, hey, what are you talking about? I don't see that. Now, the Yankees are 144 favorite in game number 1. Looks like Jordan Montgomery is going to go up against Zach Wheeler. Now, this is the first of a doubleheader. We talked about this last week, Ross, or a couple of days ago. I don't touch doubleheader games. I don't bet into them. There's just too much unknown in doubleheaders. You don't know what the manager's thinking. You don't know if he's sitting guys first game. It's just too many wild cards.
Yeah. And you don't know who's going to rest in what game until, a couple hours before game time. So that's always something you have to take a look at, because obviously you're not going to have the same catcher play in 2 games, first of all. I mean, in the Yankees case, you're going from Gary Sanchez to a huge drop-off in their backup catchers. And the pitching, too. I mean, who knows if the bullpen gets used a lot in game 1, whose bullpen was hardly used in game 1. It's really a crapshoot when it comes to doubleheaders. And the Yankees, I'd be real careful today with them. I know they're red hot, but they're facing a couple pretty good pitchers in both games of the doubleheader. Zach Wheeler and I believe Aaron Nola in the other game is scheduled to pitch. So,
correct.
Yeah, I agree with your philosophy on doubleheaders. Ron, if you're going to have any philosophy on doubleheaders, whoever wins the first game, if you're getting good value on the other team in the second game, take them, because a lot of doubleheaders end up in splits. And that's about the best no-brainer philosophy I can give you when it comes to on doubleheaders. If the team won the first game of a doubleheader, bet against it in the second game.
Yeah, and the Yankees look like they're back. Like, these look like Joe Torre years here.
Yeah.
8-1 on the season. Marlins taking on the Baltimore Orioles. Alex Cobb going for the Orioles here against Elieser Hernandez. And looking at the Marlins, big win yesterday, 4-0. Off an 8-day break. And looking at the Kogo here, 75% today. And in Cobb starts this year for the Orioles, they are 2-0 to the under. You know what? The forecast leaning with the Marlins here again. And the computer had the Marlins yesterday. I'm going to have to look off a little bit here after, see how the computer did yesterday. But 4.92, 4.5, the over-under 9.42.
I'm pretty sure they had Miami yesterday, if I recall correctly, the computer I'm referring to. Yep. But unbelievable, huh, Ron? All those players out with COVID-19, and they still come up with a 4-0 win. And go figure with Baltimore. They get off to the best start they have in years, 5-3, second place in the AL East, and then they lose to a AAA team basically yesterday.
Yeah, 7-6 in computer yesterday, Ross. And I'm looking at the totals. Looks like the total had a pretty good day. Game number 2, New York Mets taking on the Washington Nationals. Max Scherzer going for the Nats, Mad Max, and Rick Porcello for the New York Mets. Now, the bookmakers made Washington the -210 chalk, over under at 8.5. ATS forecast, computer pick, going to lean with the Nats here in a big one. And 8.5 to 3.09, the over under at 11.59. And Ross, one thing I love seeing yesterday in the highlights this morning was seeing the old gear, when they hit a home run there and they run to the bench and they were like driving a.
Yeah. It's nice to see a little bit of normalcy, if you want to call it that, the Mets right now, they've dropped 6 of 7. Their only win was with Jacob deGrom on the hill. And the Washington bullpen pitching very well right now, Ron. 1.50 ERA and 0.96 WHIP. And you couple that with Max Scherzer, tough to go against Washington today.
Yeah, the Nats on a 3-game win streak and the under 6-2 on the year for Washington. Speaking of no scoring, Boston Red Sox and Tampa Bay. I had the over in that game yesterday. Tampa Bay carried their weight. Boston didn't. Now, Tampa Bay -141 today. The over-under set at 8.5. The forecast, the computer pick, going to lean with Boston here. Look at this score. 9.67 to 3.09. Over-under at 12.76. You got Ryan Yarbrough going for the Rays, and you got Martin Perez for Boston. I'm just not used to seeing like these unknown names that, well, not unknown, but these familiar names or high-level pitchers for Boston. And we've talked about this in the in the beginning of the year. Like this Boston rotation is just it's work by committee right now, bullpen by committee in the starting rotation. Boston 3-8 to start the year. Nobody's having fun in Boston right now.
No, I mean, when Martin Perez is one of your pitchers in the starting rotation, you're really reaching. He was a good starting pitcher in his day, maybe a 3 or 4 hole pitcher. Now he's up there in age, and a really sad thing to watch Boston pitching right now. And 3-7 on the year, I think it's just going to be continue to be a long year in Boston. The computer likes 12.76 there on the total. I can't disagree with that because Ryan Yarbrough, 2 starts versus Boston last year, 5.73 ERA, and Martin Perez, 2 versus Tampa last year with a 7.45 ERA. So basically the same hitters in the lineup and that have had good success against these 2 starters, Ron.
You know what, Boston, when you think of the American League East, automatically you think of Yankees, Red Sox. Yankees, you look at that lineup, they got names. Boston Red Sox, losing Mookie Betts, that to me was the beginning of the end for this season. I
just didn't understand that, letting him get away. I mean, with the numbers he was putting up. They still got some, if you look at them on paper, they still got offensive punch on paper, but they haven't hit so far, and the pitching's been horrible. I could see the hitting improving, Ron, but I definitely don't see a drastic change in the pitching staff as far as improvement goes, both starter and reliever. And I don't think they're going to make any kind of move this year in the 60-game season, considering they figure to be out of contention pretty soon.
And, looking at today's lineup, Benintendi, Martinez, Devers, Bogarts, Pilar, Vasquez, Chavez, Bradley, Pereza. Those, that's not Boston history right there, right? Like they got the work cut out for them, and we can do a whole show on this. 4 games. But Tampa Bay, on the other hand, much needed win yesterday after the collapse on that road trip they had in Atlanta and Baltimore. Getting swept in Baltimore. That's enough to really tank the season.
We're going to call them the Lindy Ruff team of the day. 4-1 at home, 0-5 on the road.
Exactly. Twinkies taking on the Bucks. Now Pittsburgh here, home underdog. Now this again, these weird home and homes of 2 games, right? Minnesota minus 167, the over/under at 9.5. ATS forecast. Gonna lean with Twinkies here, minus 6.09, 4.09. The over/under at 10.18. Randy Dobnak getting the call here against Trevor Williams, which a pitcher I still do like. Last year I used to follow him when he started, and he won me a few games as a good dog price. You always remember those pitchers that won you money, right? Not the ones that like horse racing, right? You always remember your bad beats. Twins, 5-game winning streak, and Pittsburgh, 6-game losing streak, 2-9 on the year. Now the Kogo at 62%, Ross, and you got a C Bears team against an A Bullish team. Now the Raymond report. Now the system is starting to go into full gear because we're getting over 7 games in the system. And looking at today, Ross, I had Pittsburgh at plus 171, and the Twinkies right now are overvalued. I had them at $1.49. You're getting 167. So, buyer beware because you're overpaying here for Minnesota, but well deservingly.
Yeah, Dubnyk, pretty good. Dubnyk in his first 2 starts, 1.00 ERA. The Twins bullpen, 2.68 ERA on the season. They haven't even began to hit yet. And Pittsburgh, again, Ron, you can't ask bad teams to do good things for you, and they're definitely a bad team right now. They're not hitting. That 6-game losing streak that Ron just touched upon, they've only scored a total of 14 runs in those 6 games.
The second game of the doubleheader between the Yankees and Phillies. Now, 7:05 first pitch. Yankees 144. Still no total. That's because the doubleheader thing, right? There's your Nola here. He's going today for the Phillies. And in the second game, we have New York 4.09, 2.59. But guys, take that with a grain of salt because there's no total. But again, it's the Yankees. Obviously, they're gonna be the favorite here by the computer. 8-1 on the year. Toronto Blue Jays taking on the Atlanta Braves. Now, man, talk about disappointment for the Toronto Blue Jays right now. And you know what? I think it's starting to wear on them, knowing that they have no home games. They can't come back home to Toronto. They're doing the Wilf Paymont thing, living out of a suitcase, and minus 130 for Atlanta here. The over/under set at 9. The forecast going with the Jays though, 4.87 to 4.61. You got Sean Newcomb going up against Hyun-Jin Ryu today. The over is 2-0 in his starts this year. Blue Jays on a 3-game losing streak. The Kogo at 42%. And according to the Rain report, you have an 81% chance of winning with Toronto if you play the percentages, and 33 for Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm looking at this possibly being a high-scoring game today. I'm looking at some of the statistics here. Newcomb, 2 starts this year, an 8.22 ERA. Rue, 2 starts this year, an 8.00 ERA. Rue, three career starts at Atlanta, close to a 5 ERA. Toronto's hit some home runs this year. Atlanta, we know, has some power. And I'm going to take a hard look at possibly using the over in this game.
Yeah, no, it's hey, the over for the Braves is 2-0 in the last game, and so for the Blue Jays. My only concern there is the percentage play. But how can you not with all that firepower on the field between both teams? Cincinnati taking on the Cleveland Indians. Now the Tribe, a minus 156 home favorite. Over/under set at 8. ATS forecast, the computer pick, 5.48, 4.75. The over/under at 10.23. Chance of winning 58% for the Cleveland Indians, 44% for the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds sending TJ Antone to the bump today, Ross, against Mike Clevenger, who the Indians are 0-2 in his starts, but 0-2 to the under. And Cleveland, the last 7 games for Cleveland has gone under the total, and 4 for the Cincinnati Reds. That's 11 unders combined between both teams.
Yeah, actually, the last 9 Cleveland Indian games have gone under the total, and they're 11-1 under the total on the season. The good news for the Indians is they've allowed 3 runs or less in 10 of 12 games this year, so their pitching has been outstanding. They haven't allowed more than 4 runs all season long. The bad news is over their last 7 games, they still only scored 10 runs, Ron. And Cincinnati has some firepower in terms of power, but they're not hitting for anywhere near an average right now, near a good average, I should say. And they're relying too much on the home run ball. Cincinnati's bullpen a little bit shaky. So, again, the computer was at 10.23 on the total, and I think a lot of that has to do with Ron's law of averages. But I certainly, if anything, I would look at the total today in this contest, and I would lean toward the under, and the only thing that would steer me away is it looks too easy.
Yeah, but you know what, Ross, and we talked about this in the preview shows at the beginning of the year. This is a shortened season, right? And there's some of these teams get it and some are not. And you look out of the gate, first 10 games, and you look at your record, and 5-6 against 6-6, which is deceiving a bit since I thought Cleveland had a better record than that. But you look at a team like Minnesota, and I think also I thought about this, divisions. I think teams that play in really weak divisions are going to have an advantage against teams that play in really, say a division that has 4 or 5 teams that are winning percentages. I think like in the LA West, was it in the West? I'll have to look at the standings here real quickly. Looking at American League East, 3 of the 5 teams have a winning record. Minnesota, they're the only team that's really running away with it. With Chicago 7-4, Oakland.
That's a pretty good division. Ron, I'm sorry to interject, but Cleveland 6-6. If they hit it all, if they start hitting, they're going to be a formidable force the way they could pitch. Their starting rotation, you can make an argument, might be the best in the American League, and their bullpen has been lights out thus far, Ron.
Yeah, and here's a perfect what I was trying to get at here. Look at the National League East. Atlanta, they can have their way whatever they want. They're 8-4 in the division, and there's not a team close to them. 3-1 for Marlins. Well, that's because of the COVID. 4-4 for Washington. 1-3 for Philly. 4-8 for the Mets. A couple of teams there with some issues because of COVID. And the Central League, Chicago, they can probably just go to the beach and come back and still be in the lead 9-2, and then the closest team to them is the Reds. So like that's what I'm trying to say is that some of these divisions are really helping out a lot of these teams.
Yeah, strength of schedule, right? It goes back to that.
You got Chicago Cubs taking on the Kansas City Royals, minus 205 for the Cubs. Now the over-under set at 8. Forecast 8.25, 3.5. The over-under at 11.75. So it does like this total to go over the total today. You got Chris Bubich going up against Yu Darvish for the Chicago Cubs. 9-2 for the season against 3-9 for the Royals.
Sorry, Ren. Darvish, yes, 2 good starts so far. The Royals right now struggling 0-5 in their last 5, not hitting. Bubik coming off a good start in his Major League Baseball debut, but this is only his second Major League Baseball start ever. Game I'm going to stay away from. Too big a line, and I'm not willing to lay the 1.5 on the road with the Cubs.
Yeah, you know what? You said it right there. Struggling. I'm trying to find a Joe Namath soundbite.
Yeah.
Struggling.
Yeah, exactly.
When he was talking with, yeah, we need sound bites on this show here. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm one of those guys. Yeah, maybe copyright laws. I can't do that. Looking at the Kansas City here, yeah, 3-9 on the year. Man, they got to find a way to win here. The other doubleheader, Baltimore taking on Miami, minus 112 price. And there's still no over-under here. I'm looking at the odds.
Yeah.
So,
a perfect example here, Ron, if I could interject. Miami, 18 players that have tested positive for COVID-19. They've been off a week. They're really down to the bottom of the barrel in their farm system as far as who they're using. They come off a surprising win yesterday, but, you could really be looking at a whole AAA lineup, meaning batting order, and possibly even their pitcher in the second game of this doubleheader. So, game to stay away from, in my opinion.
Unless you're the Brooklyn Nets, and that helps.
Yeah, exactly.
Milwaukee taking on the surprising 7-4 Chicago White Sox. Now, the Brew Crew 3-5 on the year, minus 128 road favorite here. I don't see a total on this game yet. Maybe there is one, but it's not listed.
Yeah, I got 8.5 on the total.
All right. Again, 3.5 to 3. And you know what? This is going to be a good one. Dallas Keuchel going against Adrian Hauser of the Milwaukee Brewers. Chicago White Sox, don't look now, but 6-game winning streak.
Yeah. Also, the White Sox coming off a 3-2 win at Milwaukee yesterday. And since the start of last season, they're 9-1 at home following a 1-run win. Milwaukee just not hitting right now, Ron, especially Christian Yelich. The last I looked, he was like 2 for 26. Somewhere around that range, and this is a guy I believe that won the American League or National League batting title the last 2 years. So yeah, look for Milwaukee to start picking it up offensively, though.
Yeah, San Francisco taking on the Colorado Rockies. Now the Rockies a minus 172 price. The over/under set 11. ATS forecast, the computer pick. Gonna lean with Colorado again. 5.87, 5.48. The over/under at 11.35. Right on the button right there at Coors Field. And you got John Gray going for the Rockies. Undecided. Man, who's this undecided pitcher? He's having a rough
he's
year.
Very popular today.
Yeah, very popular. Yeah, he's all over the place. There's a good French joke in there. In French, a puck is called a rondelle. And one of my mother-in-law one day watching the hockey game in French, she goes, "Who's this rondelle guy? He's always on the ice." So looking at the Rockies, they're 8-2 on the year and 5-7 for the Giants, Ross. 79% chance of winning for the San Francisco Giants. But you know what? The Rockies, I don't care. They always have this advantage at Coors. They're tough to beat there, man, because they're used to playing that high altitude.
Yeah, they went under the total yesterday quite easily. The total in this game, 12.5. Some may say that's high, but we both know that's pretty normal for a game at Coors Field. San Francisco loses 5-2 yesterday. Ron, it broke a string of 6 straight games in which the Giants had scored 5+ runs. And this Colorado team right now on fire offensively. And since their opener, they've gone 8-1 in their last 9 games. And also, you're looking at Logan Webb for the Giants. Hasn't gotten beyond the fourth inning in his first two starts. And since 2018, Ron, Colorado is 21-6 at Coors Field when the total is either 12 or 12.5. And like I alluded to, it's 12.5 today.
Okay. Houston taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now Houston, a -134 chalk, over-under set at 9.5. Forecast leaning with Houston here, 4.59, 4.1. The over-under set at 8.69. Robbie Ray getting the call here today for the D-backs, going up against Lance McCullers Jr. And looking at the Astros right now on a 2-game win streak, 6-4 in the year, 6-3-1 to the over. Now we had the Astros listed as a -105 price. We had Arizona at +139. The Kogo is at 33%. You got a B neutral team up against a C bearish team. And then, folks, if you're wondering what does he mean by neutral and bearish, neutral means the team is either 3-4 or 4-3 in the last 7, according to the Raymond Report Law of Average Theory. And bearish means either 2-5, 1-6, or 0-7 in their last 7 games. Arizona on a 3-game losing streak.
Yeah, 2 struggling starting pitchers right now out of the gate. Robbie Ray, 2 starts so far, 8.63 ERA. Lance McCullers with a 5.40 ERA and a 1.80 WHIP. His first 2 starts. The difference here, Houston is able to score runs, and they've done it quite regularly, averaging 6 runs per game. Ron, Arizona right now averaging 2.6 runs per game, and they've hit only 2 home runs all season long.
You know, ever since they lost Paul Goldschmidt to free agency, that just, it's like losing Mookie Betts. You can't lose big pieces of the puzzle on your baseball team, and that's what people want to pay and see, right?
And Ron, the other part of that equation is Goldschmidt, guys like Goldschmidt that can hit for average and power. It makes the hitter before him and after him more effective as well.
Absolutely.
Again, I don't understand the Mookie Betts move, and I don't understand why Goldschmidt, they let him get away.
Hey, in the life, it's all about the Benjamins, right?
Yeah.
Oakland A's taking on the Texas Rangers. Man, this is like opening up a wound here from last night. -158 for Oakland. 7.5 is the over-under. And look, that tells you everything right there. Texas Ranger total at 7.5. And it's not even like, these big old name pitchers. It's Sean Manaea against Kyle Gibson for the Texas Rangers. Now looking at the record here, 7-4 in the year, 3-6 for the Texas Ranger. We have a 67% chance of winning today on Texas, Ross, 18% for Oakland, and the Kogo at 55%.
Yeah, Oakland's gone 4-0 in their last 4, and they've allowed 2 runs or less in each of those 4. Their pitching, especially their bullpen, has been real good. Both of these starting pitchers, Kyle Gibson, 3-0 under the total versus Oakland since 2018 with a 2.66 ERA. Sean Manaea, 3 versus Texas since 2018 with a 2.12 ERA, Ron. Oakland's gone under in 6 of their last 7. Their bullpen, 1.75 ERA on the season. And the difference between these two teams is the bullpen, because Texas, a 6.37 ERA on the bullpen. And like I talked to you off air, Ron, Texas is just not hitting 192 as a team with a 6.18 OPS. That's terrible.
Yeah, and this Chapman, remember I talked about Chapman? This guy here, anything he does is just positive and touches, everything he touches goes to gold. He just looks like one of those confident ball players. Like, again, hit another home run last night to tie that game. This guy is phenomenal. I think he's a hidden gem right now in the Major League Baseball that no one's going to know because he lives, they know about him, but he plays in the West Coast, so a lot of people don't see him play.
Not only the West Coast, a small market West Coast team.
Yeah, exactly. This guy's the real deal. I really love this Chapman guy. LA Dodgers taking on the San Diego Padres. Now, the Dodgers here, 8-4 in the year, -114 price. Now the over/under set at 8. They're coming off a big 5-2 win last night over the Padres and Darryl May. Was it Darryl May?
Yes.
Yeah. His
Dustin May.
Dustin May. That's it.
Yep.
His fastball hit 98 last night on one pitch. This guy he can throw the heat. And the forecast, real tight one here, 4.19, 4.18. The over/under 8.37. You know what? This one here has the making of a good game tonight.
Yeah, Ron just mentioned San Diego coming off that 5-2 loss yesterday. The series now tied at 1-1. This current series, the Padres 4-1 after a loss this year. Ron.
Yeah. And looking at the starting pitchers, you got Garrett Richards going today for the Padres up against Ross Stripling, and the Dodgers are 2-0 in his starts this year. Angels taking on the Seattle Mariners, and looking at the line here, I don't see a total here. I don't know why. I see 9 right now, but the feed didn't pick it up. Again, because there's no total, don't put too much emphasis into this total. I'll have to refresh the if you're a member of ATS Stats, you can see the total by going to, if you're new to the rain report, just go to MLB, go to free rain report. I'm going to update after this show, and I want to update the score with the total in here because it could change. So just for this show here, guys, I want a disclaimer, 4.19 to 4.18, but the Angels here, 181 favorite. Julio Teheran. Oh, man, I haven't seen him pitch in a while. Last time I saw him, it was in Atlanta up against Marco Gonzalez of the Mariners.
Yeah, the last I look, Ron, you might want to look at the update because I had the LA Angels minus 150 unless they moved to 180 in the last 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, you're right. And it's 130 at some place. So this line is all over the place. I see Bet365 has 165. I see Bookmaker 131. So, yeah. Hey, welcome to COVID era, right?
You know what they say about a matchup like this? It's a hold your nose game. They both stink, you know. Yeah. So Marco Gonzalez might be the difference here. 2 starts this year. He's been awful sharp with a 2.03 ERA and an 0.94 whip. And the LA Angels coming off that 5-3 win at Seattle yesterday. But you know what? They're 0-3 this year following a win.
I heard a great quote this morning on the I think it was MLB Network when Mike Trout, congratulations, he had a baby, and they call him Papa Trout now. That's a great name, Papa Trout. Yeah, that's funny. All right, guys, there you have it. That's the rain report with Ross Benjamin for Hump Day, Wednesday, August 5th. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's show. Ross, before we go, where can people get your selections each and every day?
They can get my selections at Ron's site, atsstats.com, which would be very easy to do, and because you're listening to the Raymond Report. And also at my own personal website, rbwins.com or rossbenjaminsports.com. Just want to remind the folks, Ron, 2 more shows coming today, one an NHL show and one an NBA show, and that's the way we're going to do things for the foreseeable future. So if you don't like one sport, you just like to bet on just one particular sport, we're going to make it easy for you. You don't have to sit through a whole hour podcast waiting for your sport to be discussed.
Yeah, we won't keep you hostage, right? Right on. All right, for Ross Benjamin, I'm Ron Raymond of the Raymond Report. As always, shop for value, play those percentages. We'll see you back shortly with another Raymond Report.